Welcome to the deep dive.
Hello!
Today, we're getting into a really fascinating story. Maybe ancient, maybe not, but it feels incredibly relevant.
Absolutely. It's got these powerful layers about, truth, perception, what we even call wisdom.
Yeah, and how we react to things that challenge us. It's a story that I think really speaks to you, listening right now.
It forces a bit of self-reflection, doesn't it, about our own views, how society works, that tension between, let's say, a convention and something else.
Exactly. So let's paint the picture. Think of this city, Eldoria.
Okay.
It's a place, shrouded in a bit of mystery, but also very comfortable, very routine.
Got it. Life just ticking along, predictable.
Pretty much. And then, into this very settled world, this stranger arrives. They just call him Zephyr.
Right, Zephyr. And he doesn't exactly blend in, does he?
Not at all. The description is vivid, like tattered clothes, hair all over the place, wild.
Kind of striking, but there's more, isn't there? Something about his eyes.
Yeah, that's the detail that hooks you. His eyes. They're described as holding this ancient spark, something knowing, maybe a little unsettling for the locals.
Unsettling because it's different, maybe. Doesn't fit the routine.
I think so. And he doesn't waste time. He goes right to the grand square, the city center, and just starts talking.
Just launches into it.
Yeah, but it's not like a clear speech. It's described as almost a torrent, seemingly disjointed words, ideas that don't immediately make sense to the people of Eldoria.
Okay, so strange guy, strange words. How do people react?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting, psychologically.
Right.
Faced with something difficult, confusing.
Something that doesn't fit their neat boxes.
Exactly. Their immediate reaction is dismissal. They laugh, they mock him, and they slap a label on him, quick smart. The Madman.
Ah, the label. Makes it easy to ignore him then, right?
Totally. It's a classic defense mechanism, isn't it? If something comes along that feels weird or challenging, just call it mad or crazy.
And then you don't have to actually engage with it. You protect your comfortable world, your status quo.
Right. Calling Zephyr mad, it lets them keep their definition of normal and wise intact.
But it blinds them too. They might be missing something important.
For sure. They're blind to whatever might actually be in those words, however jumbled they seem. But then, the story gives us a little crack of light. A character emerges.
Orion, the young boy.
That's him, Orion. Described as having a heart that isn't, cynical like the others.
So he sees something different, or maybe he's just more open.
Yeah, he doesn't join the mocking. He actually goes up to Zephyr, asks questions.
These simple questions, probably, just trying to understand.
Exactly. Genuine curiosity, not judgment, just wanting to figure out this puzzle instead of just dismissing it.
Yeah.
And that moment, it feels really pivotal.
Because it starts something, a shift.
It seems like it, like his curiosity is contagious maybe. People start watching differently. Maybe they start to really listen, trying to catch something behind the apparent chaos of Zephyr's words.
And this is where things get weird. Or maybe revealing.
Yeah, revealing is a good word. Because as they start to listen, they start to notice connections. The things Zephyr says, they start to actually happen.
Whoa, okay. So it's not just random noise.
Apparently not. He moves through the city, pops up here and there, and these pronouncements people initially called madness, they start coming true, demonstrably.
Like predictions or insights that play out. Can you give an example?
Okay, so there's this one line. He who sells his soul to the people loses it, but he who sells it to the divine gains it. Sounds cryptic, right?
Vaguely philosophical.
But the very next day, there's this merchant in town known for being shady, relying on, public image and manipulation.
Okay.
He's ruined. His whole operation just collapses.
Wow. Okay, that's specific.
Right. Or another one. Zephyr's near the palace gates and declares, every door closed to the oppressed shall be opened by the divine upon the oppressor.
Strong words.
And shortly after, this guard, who is apparently notorious for abusing his power, picking on the vulnerable, he gets dismissed, fired.
So the consequences he spoke of are actually materializing.
Seems like it, and maybe the most powerful one. If you seek the face of the divine, look upon how you treat the weak.
Oof. That hits hard.
Yeah. And as these things happen, you see the perception of the crowd just flip.
They stop seeing the madman.
Completely. They start seeing, well, something else entirely. Wisdom, maybe. Power. They start gathering around him, listening intently, wanting to understand.
So he goes from outcast to guru, almost.
In a way, yeah. The story shows this profound shift. His presence, which they rejected, becomes a catalyst.
A catalyst for change in the city itself.
It seems so. Problems start dissolving, And maybe not just because of these external events, but because the people are changing. Their behavior, their attitudes, becoming more compassionate, perhaps.
This supposed madness is actually having a healing effect on Eldoria.
That's what it looks like. The city's transforming, seemingly for the better, all under the influence of this guy they initially wrote off.
Okay, but surely not everyone is happy about this. What about the person in charge, the king?
Yes. King Oberon. He's watching all this, and he is not comfortable.
Because Zephyr's influence is messing with his control.
Exactly. The king's power rests on the established order, on predictability, on him being the source of authority. Zephyr disrupts all that, not with force, but by changing how people think and act.
That's a fundamental challenge to power. What does Oberon do?
Fear kicks in, right?
Yeah.
The need to regain control. He decides he needs to expose Zephyr, prove he's a fake, a fraud.
Oh, set him up?
Pretty much. He summons Zephyr to the palace, big public spectacle, the whole royal court is there, and Oberon hits him with this super complex riddle.
Designed to trick him up, to make him look foolish.
Precisely. It's meant to be the moment everyone sees the season. Zephyr isn't wise at all, the big unmasking.
Yeah, Zephyr's response. Does he solve it?
This is the absolute core, I think. He doesn't even try to answer the riddle in the way Oberon expects.
No. What does he do?
He looks right at the king, in front of everyone, and says simply, "I am your mirror, O king."
Wow, I am your mirror.
Yeah. Delivered calmly, courageously, it just hangs there.
That's not an answer to the riddle at all. It completely flips the situation.
Totally. It deflects the king's game, but more than that, it turns the spotlight right back onto Oberon himself.
It implies the real issue isn't the riddle, but what the king sees when he looks at Zephyr, which is maybe a reflection of his own flaws, his own rule.
That's how it lands. It's
Yeah.
a challenge to the king to look inward. So, how does Oberon handle seeing himself in that mirror?
Well, I'm guessing power based on control doesn't usually mirror.
Exactly. He's enraged. He can't deal with the reflection. Instead of, considering what Zephyr's showing him, he takes the easy way out.
Which is?
Banishment. Get rid of the mirror. He exiles Zephyr from Eldoria.
Sends him away so he doesn't have to look anymore. But does that work? Does the influence just vanish?
Well, Zephyr leaves. But the story says he leaves something behind. A small book.
Ah, the book, The Wisdom of the Madman.
That's the one. And Orion, the boy, and the people, remember, their minds have already shifted.
They're ready for it now.
They eagerly grab onto this book. The ideas, the pronouncements, they spread like wildfire. They reinforce that transformation that started way back in the square.
So the wisdom remains, even if the man is gone.
Yes. And the story adds this great detail. Even King Oberon, alone, behind closed doors, he finds himself reading it, grappling with Zephyr's words.
So the mirror is still there, in a way. In the book, he couldn't escape it completely.
It seems not. The wisdom is now part of the city's fabric, even affecting the ruler who tried to silence it.
It's a powerful narrative arc, so stepping back from the story itself, what are the big takeaways here? What are the reminders for us?
Well, the most obvious one is how it messes with our ideas of madness versus wisdom, isn't it?
Definitely. It suggests the real madness might not be, thinking outside the box or speaking unconventionally.
Right. Maybe the real madness is being so trapped inside the box, so enslaved by societal norms, that you just can't see or hear truth when it shows up looking a bit raggedy.
Or when it holds up that uncomfortable mirror. It's about being unwilling to look.
Yeah. So it's a huge argument for looking past labels. Don't just slap madman on something unfamiliar.
And it also speaks volumes about self-belief, doesn't it? Zephyr never seemed to doubt his own perspective, even when everyone mocked him.
That's true. The courage to just be who he was, speak his truth, even facing ridicule and banishment.
That willingness to be the mirror, knowing it might get you kicked out. The story frames that as potentially liberating, not just for Zephyr, but for Eldoria too, eventually.
So it makes you ask, right? When we encounter something, an idea, a person that doesn't fit our expectations, what's our first reaction?
Do we react like the early Eldorians, with dismissal and labels? Or more like Orion, with a bit of curiosity?
Or like King Oberon, when confronted with a reflection we don't like, do we lash out, try to banish it?
It really prompts you to think about your own life, your own world. Where do you see things you might be tempted to call mad or strange?
Ideas, perspectives, maybe even ways of living that just feel off compared to your norm.
And the story suggests maybe, just maybe, there's real wisdom hiding there, if you're willing to look past the surface.
Yeah. Wisdom doesn't always come neatly packaged or spoken in comforting tones.
Sometimes it comes looking like Zephyr.
So the final thought to leave you with is, What unexpected places might you find profound wisdom if you just dared to look beyond the label, listen a bit closer, and question what everyone else just accepts as normal or dismisses as madness?